podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of NQAT Game Club. Today we're going to be talking about Barcelona 3, Manchester United 3, the second of those 3-all draws. I realised, I was told, because I'd forgotten this, that when I said the Barca United 3-all from the group stages of the Champions League, should have specified which one.
Yeah, I mean, the first game at Old Trafford was interesting. Didn't it have a Lee Sharp goal early on and the Sharpie Shuffle came out and all of that?
Really? Was he still at the club in 1998? I have no
Maybe
idea.
I'm thinking of another game against Barca. I don't know. I didn't check this out, clearly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It feels like Lee Sharp left United in about 1993, but I know that's not actually the case. The 3-all, the first 3-all at Old Trafford was extremely notable because it was the Champions League debut of one Xavi Hernandez. Because his manager decided
that was his debut. He was very young.
Yeah. The one we watched, he was now an established member of the team for at least 8 weeks or whatever it was between those two games. Talking of very young looking, of course, Barcelona's manager at the time, a very familiar face, but a sort of fresher version of a very familiar face.
But on the bench with his big tactics book and notes clearly visible to the camera with formations and stuff on it, which is kind of interesting. I was like, oh, Louis, you haven't changed.
Classic Louis. Also classic Louis. Louis van Gaal is a football terrorist. Like, I kind of have a credible affection for him, but I was annoyed all over again watching how good Rivaldo was in this game about what Van Gaal did to Rivaldo and then all the other players that fit into the same mould for many, many years to come.
Yes. Yeah, you forget that about some people associated with Barcelona. It's supposed to be the beautiful game, but I mean, Van Gaal, of course, it wasn't Barcelona that made his name. In fact, it was a disastrous period for him at Barcelona, but, on the Dutch conveyor belt. But, yes, not always friendly with, both South American talent, a little oddball of Louis there, but and also talent or eccentric talent. Jose Mourinho went through the same sort of production line as well, didn't he? Yeah.
He did. It's an interesting correlation. So this is not the disastrous period at Barcelona. In fact, he wins some stuff during this period. He wins La Liga in 97-98 and 98-99, and the Copa del Rey in 97-98. So they win the double the season before this, and they did win the league this season. The disastrous period is when he comes back, and that's a complete flop. And I know all this off the top of my head, although I just checked it because you sounded confident. That always worries me because of the number of times I've looked at Louis van Gaal's Wikipedia page during the Bleacher Report years.
It worries you when I look confident. Great, thanks for the vote of confidence, Paul.
No. I mean, if you're saying
anyway. So this is a 98-99 Champions League Group D. This is the 5th match of 6. It was all to play for at this stage. So United go in the 6th match of 6, draw with Bayern. Bayern top the group. Barcelona end up 3rd. This is a group made up of United, Bayern, Barcelona and Brøndby, who Manchester United scored 20 goals in this group, although 11 of them were against Brøndby. 6 were against Barcelona.
You know, Brøndby beat Bayern in the first leg of this, which kind of set the cat right among the pigeons. But so I think, unless I've got my maths wrong, before this game, Barca had 4 points in the group because they had drawn with us and beaten Brøndby once and lost to Bayern twice. United were currently on top of the group at this point with 8 points. But Bayern... so United were in a much worse position than Barcelona, who still had Brøndby to play for. So if we'd lost this game to Barca, we'd have been in big trouble, needing to get at least a point against Bayern, which we did, but perhaps that was a bit more of a dead rubber than it would have been otherwise.
Yes, right, yeah. United in the tournament having finished second in the league the year before, obviously, to Arsenal. Very good Arsenal team. And this is the first time that a non-champion or previous winner had gone on to win the tournament.
Previous winner of the Champions League.
Of the Champions League or European Cup, yeah. So it was one of the first or maybe the second season in which non-champions were allowed into the Champions League.
Right. La Liga de Campeones, as it was repeatedly called on the Spanish commentary that I watched. Barca TV version that I watched of this. I was slightly surprised it wasn't Catalan commentary, but maybe in 1998 we weren't quite there yet culturally. So a draw knocked Barca out. It's interesting because the last game we watched was a win that was effectively a loss. This is a draw that's effectively a win.
Well, you said we'd only be talking about wins in this, so we're going to round on Fergie for this one. Awful draw, awful. Putting United under pressure. Really could have gone for it. No. Interesting Barca side, though. I mean, you'll be familiar with all the names in the United side, of course, although some interesting tactical picks. Barca side, this isn't the greatest ever Barca side, but the front six, very, very good. The back five, yeah, not so awesome. And an interesting kind of tactical setup because although a lot of the tactical boards have this as basically a 4-3-3 for Barca, they actually move to a 3 at the back quite a lot of the time during the game, with Solades effectively moving into midfield. And then in 3 in midfield are Xavi, Giovanni and Zenden. And you couldn't tell where any of those guys were playing. They're playing in midfield, but it's so flexible. And Figo and Rivaldo supporting Anderson. So, it's kind of modern. United, basically a straight-up 4-4-2. Yeah, York sort of a little bit deeper. But often he plays the target man. And Andy Cole in this game was coming deeper than I kind of remembered him doing. And is actually very good at it. Not something I remember Andy Cole being strong at, but he had a good performance in this game.
Yeah, so for bonus content, we're going to talk about for Patreon backers, we'll talk about the York and Cole partnership through history. And I think one of the reasons we don't remember Andy Cole being an amazing link-up player is because it really did only happen for the most part with Dwight York. Their understanding is extraordinary. And before the amazing goal that they scored, there were a number of times where Cole knocks the ball towards York and then spins around the defender back, spins back around the defender. That kind of give and go immediately is a go-to move, and he does it really well. It nearly comes off a few times.
Yeah, the United side, all very familiar. Blomqvist is in for Giggs. I guess Giggs is rested or injured. He's not on the bench.
He must be injured. He's not on the bench. Yeah.
The rest of the midfield familiar. Wes Brown at right back and Gary Neville having his arse handed to him in central defence. Wes Brown, I guess, must have been very young.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the team a reasonable amount this season because he's one of the relatively few. He's one that you wouldn't think about when you think about players who are in 08 and 99.
Yeah, right.
But he's definitely starting to come through. And as Fergie so often does when players are coming through, a new centre-back coming through is going to play a lot of games at right-back, although the decision to play Wes Brown at right-back and Gary Neville in central defence is not proved to be
it's
particularly
proved to be a disaster 1 minute in. In which,
poor old
I mean, some awful defending. Is it Keane with a defensive header? Poor defensive header, and then Neville just gets twisted in and out by Sonny Anderson, who finishes really well. But I mean, Neville's looking a bit silly there. He's kind of chasing his own tail, basically running around circles and just nowhere near the forward.
Yeah, he's sold. Well, it's interesting because in the last game we watched, Wes Brown got sold a bill of goods by Ronaldo. Here, Gary Neville's where do I sign for this bill of goods? As soon as Anderson gets a ball, he gets tied into knots. And kind of can't really blame him given that it's the first minute of a Champions League game where he's playing at centre-back. United were coming off a 3-1 loss away to Sheffield Wednesday, which had been their first loss since that 3-0 loss to Arsenal that we talked about in the Arsenal game episode. And I kind of assumed when I saw the result on the Wikipedia page, that must have been he must have rested a lot of players and stuff with this big game against Barcelona. It's exactly the same team, except Phil Neville's playing in for Wes Brown. So at that point, that's arguably a stronger team that's just lost to Sheffield Wednesday. United, it's very difficult. I find it very difficult. I was kind of reflecting on this a lot watching it. What to say about the overall nature of this game? So, like, Arsenal semi, that was very much like United were on top very much in that game. The 91 game had kind of distinct ebbs and flows of teams on top, but United again on top for large parts of that game. This one, I have no real sense of what was happening structurally and meaningfully for most of this game. It all felt quite mishmashy.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely some poor defending and some great goals. United, I felt, got completely battered for the first 20 minutes. They just couldn't keep the ball, and that was the problem.
No.
Trying to... what interesting thing, I think we've talked about this before, you put that team in today's modern game with a different manager maybe, or evolved Fergie. I think they're playing a different way and they try and keep the ball, but they're constantly looking for a cutting edge ball, the through ball, the killer pass into the channels, and they're just not able to retain the ball. And Barcelona keep coming at them. There's a goal in the first minute, there's a Rivaldo shot after 7, there's a volley from Xavi just wide after 8. There's the Barcelona players running with the ball all the time, which actually, in one sense, puts United under huge amounts of pressure, but 1v1, they actually dealt with that quite well. So
this is exactly what I was going to say. You know, when you say United are struggling to retain the ball, what you think of when you think of like Manchester United versus Barcelona and Manchester United are struggling to retain the ball, you think of Barcelona finding it very easy to retain the ball and passing it constantly and recycling possession endlessly and draining United in that kind of Guardiola death by 1,000 cuts way. But despite the fact this is a Van Gaal team, this doesn't look anything like latter-day Van Gaal because...
No, it definitely doesn't, no. They're looking for the cutting edge as well, but they've got players who want to dribble with it.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Van Bronckhorst, Rivaldo, Anderson, they all want to run with the ball.
Yeah, immediately as they get it, and that happens time after time after time again. And the one exception to that, funnily enough, is Xavi, who looks like he's been transplanted from 15 years into the future or 12 years into the future is part of like the best team many of us have ever seen, the best club side any of us have ever seen. He's doing exactly the same thing. Give and go, pass and immediately move into space. It's just that football hasn't caught up with him yet, basically.
True. Xavi does a bit of rolling around later in the game, but he's not the worst culprit for that. So I have in my notes here, Rivaldo falls over a lot. Figo falls over a lot. They all rolled over and over a lot. I mean, wow. Yeah. Figo was bad for this. I mean, he goes on this blinding run early in the game where he beats Blomqvist and then Irwin and puts in a fantastic ball and there's no one quite there to get it. I was like, guy's quick, skillful, great player. I mean, he played in the game we talked about on Thursday against Real Madrid. But man loves a dive and loves rolling around on the grass even more than he loves a dive.
Unbelievable. So Blomqvist is booked for the softest yellow card you've ever seen in your life. Like, the referee's trying to move the wall back and he's booked him within seconds of trying to move the wall back. It was outrageous. And later on, when Blomqvist commits minor GBH on someone, he doesn't get a second yellow because the ref's clearly a bit like, maybe that was a bit shabby. But even softer than the yellow card is his attempt during that run you've talked about, because he beats Irwin first, and that's a really good bit of skill. Blomqvist, he just walks past. Like, Blomqvist is just tearing in, goes for a sliding tackle, and Figo's like, I'm here, right? In front of where you've just slid tackled behind me. It's a late tackle that's so late it misses the player as well as the ball.
Yeah. I mean, and that's all part of that first 20 minutes. There's a really great chance for Anderson as well, just before the equaliser, where he's through 1v1 and Schmeichel saves. I think there's 3 1v1 saves from Schmeichel in this game.
Yeah, 2 of them with his right knee.
Yeah.
Like both, like that classic Schmeichel star jump that makes him... And, he is so quick between on the line and on the 18-yard, on the kind of 12 yards out from his goal, making it almost impossible to score.
Commits all the time. He's kind of opposite of De Gea in that sense. I mean, De Gea is not going to commit in those situations at all. He's happier on his line, and then he'll make the save. Or sometimes he gets caught out by not doing that. But he's always taking the aggression to the attacker. I've loved watching these last few games with Schmeichel in goal. Miss him.
The throwouts, they're special. But and then it's really against the run of play out of basically nothing. Blomqvist finds York in a bit of space, and it's kind of a bit like the Ronaldo goal for Real in that he just does the keeper by shooting early, but it's not with pure power. It sort of reminded me of like a bowler bowling a slower ball. Kind of like slightly tricks the keeper, and there's a bit of deceptive pace, of deceptive precision on the shot, I guess.
Yeah, and sort of ball inside from Blomqvist. It's just a pass. It's not really a through ball or anything like that. And one turn from York and fires it into the near post. And I guess the keeper's not thinking he's going there. He's taking it really early, right into the corner. It's a nice goal. And, it didn't deserve it, but, celebrated well. There are only 67,000 people at this game in 100,000 stadium, which is interesting.
Yeah, you can see it.
Barcelona's still in it, but they didn't turn up for this one. But a few United fans there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a moment in the second half where Beckham takes a corner, and I got like actual legitimate goosebumps, not from that particular corner, but from David Beckham standing in the Nou Camp taking a corner in front of United fans. It's pretty exciting. Yorkie with a brilliant bit of skill tries to beat 3 players. Nothing comes of it. Figo then has a shot, which, talk about Schmeichel. This is maybe Schmeichel's most amazing moment of the game, because he does this weird sort of scoopy save from Figo, which is very reactive, and then dives forward at the ball to like punch it or flap it out of the way of an onrushing, I guess it was Anderson, coming towards the ball at high speed. It's an amazing sort of double save, basically.
Yeah, and there were just before half time, a couple of chances for United. Beckham cross, York headed over. Perhaps could have done better, long way out. Shot from Scholes, blocked. That was about it, but, a couple of decent... There were definitely quite a few... I think it was 11 shots Barcelona had by half-time, but United had 5 or 6, so it was open.
The thing that I noticed was that United just looked a much better team when they started to play, rather than hit everything long. It looked like, actually, if I'd been like doing this at the time, probably would have been like, why do we keep trying to knock it long all the time? We look really good when we get the ball down and play. We've obviously got the players to do that. Scholes and Keane and Beckham and York and Cole, Blomqvist too, to an extent. Like it was sort of, it didn't seem to be playing to our strengths to hit the first time ball all the time. Although the goal that Barca conceded, that first goal, maybe Fergie thought that would play to their weaknesses as much as anything else, because they really did look very weak.
So have just before half-time, Figo rolling around again. He's really a bit pathetic. And then later, Xavi rolling around on the floor. Giovanni rolling around on the floor.
I got to pull you up on that particular Figo one, because I think you might be talking about him rolling around on the floor after being absolutely clattered by one Royston Keane. So, I
barely touched him, ref.
I said about Keane in the 2003 game, it was unbelievable watching him kind of basically buy a dive from Figo by looking like he was going to hair in after he'd given the ball away, and then but actually like being incredibly composed and putting an inch perfect tackle. I now realise why Figo dived out of the way, because it was muscle memory. because Keane gives the ball away really sloppily, gets really angry, and just absolutely hares into Figo. So he did exactly what we praised him for not doing.
Deserved it. So at halftime, who's the happiest? I mean, I guess Barca are well on top, but it's 1-1, and Fergie would take that for sure.
Absolutely, and I think the weakness that Barcelona have shown at the back, and the fact that United have kind of defended well for the most part 1-on-1 after the absolute disaster. Even Gary Neville's grown into the game a little bit, although he's kind of a liability for that chance we talked about with Schmeichel running out. He has a much better second half. But I think Fergie might have thought kind of, well, this is a bit risky, but we're sort of getting the job done here. We hope you're enjoying the No Question About That podcast. We are open for sponsorship, so if you run the kind of business that would be interested in sponsoring our show, just drop us an email at nqatpod@gmail.com.
And United came out really well in the second half. Beckham cross, York chance, nice turn, smashed it over. Probably could have scored from that one. Long range shot from Scholes, just wide. We've seen long range shots from Scholes against Barca going, haven't we? And that's all before the goal. And the goal is just a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Amazing.
So 53rd minute this is, and it's not just because you all see the 1-2 goal and that's imprinted in your memory, but there's about 25 passes before that.
Yeah, United looking much better when they play the ball. Like, this is exactly what you'd have been kind of hoping would happen in the second half. And maybe Fergie said at half time, hey, by the way, you are good at football, do a bit of that. And it was Keane that plays the ball through. Keane, who doesn't have a brilliant game, actually. It's the first Roy Keane game. I would say not a bad game, but he's not a dominant influence in the game, but he has a really important role to play here. Plays the ball into York, who steps over, comes back to Cole, who knocks it back into his path and spins round. And York finds Cole, and Cole scores, and it's absolutely, totally and utterly magnificent.
Sweet.
And
yes. I mean, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen that goal in a while, go for the full build up, and just, one of I don't know whether it's in the top 10 United goals in Europe or anything like that, but it's really, really nice. Lead didn't last for very long though, did it?
No, it did not.
Free kick, one.
Big Pete, mate.
Yeah. Well, he's done, I think, by Rivaldo going the wrong way with a free kick. So, but yeah, it's to his near side. It's the side that he's probably expecting the wall to protect. So it's on the nice side for Rivaldo to hit this, although at quite an angle, 30 yards from goal, and just hits it really sweetly. But I think he's thinking that Rivaldo is going the other way.
It definitely is, but come on.
And so what's that? 2-2. 2-2, and there's another great chance just moments after that. Zenden with a low cross right across the 6-yard box. Irwin somehow scoops it out from almost under his own bar. Could have been Phil Jones' classic there. And then somehow Anderson doesn't score from about 5 yards out, pokes it straight at Schmeichel. There's another long shot by Rivaldo, saved by Schmeichel. This is all in the 5 minutes after the Rivaldo goal, by the way. They had such a storming sort of 5-6 minutes where they could have really taken the game away from United.
Absolutely, and United kind of cling on by luck and judgment, I guess. Then after all of that, that's when you have the chance where Bex crosses it into York, who heads it well, and Hesp makes a pretty great save. At first I thought York had missed it.
Yeah, how does he miss that? But it's a save onto the post, isn't it? And then, and
that goes for a corner, crucially, because it is from that corner that kind of is dealt with by Barcelona, but comes out to Keane. I said he didn't have a good game, but he's made the pre-assist or whatever in both of these games, the goals. He slides it into Beckham. Perfect. Absolutely. If you just close your eyes and picture a David Beckham cross, that's this cross. Just the body shape, the timing, the precision.
It's just, he hits those so well. I mean, he does it again against Inter in the quarterfinal at Old Trafford for United's one of United's 2 goals there. But it's just executes that skill so well to curl it around the 2 defenders, first defender and the near post defender, and York knocks it in with his head. Lovely. United up again.
Absolutely, and it's such an important goal, obviously, because now we've got a 2-goal cushion to knock Barca out, and we're going to need it because they don't stop knocking from now on. I mean, United have other chances. In fact, they should have had a big chance because Cole and York link up again and Cole knocks it through to York. Now, on the replay, you can't see exactly when he releases the ball, but I'm pretty sure he was a good bit onside when the ball got released. You can see why the linesman gave it, but that would have been, I think, Cole through on goal. And then, I mean, unless you've got any notes beforehand, LVG's a monster. He's a monster. Why wouldn't you want this man in your football team?
I mean, it's just ridiculous. The third goal for Barca scored by Rivaldo. I mean, it's a kind of nothing ball in as well. It's just one of those chipped balls in from Sergei, who's coming out from on the left side of Barca's defence. And it's like you don't believe it until you've watched it again a few times and then in slow motion as well, because he controls it on his chest, but he's like 4 foot off the ground when he controls it. And in the same motion, he overheads it in. It's a feat of great athleticism, imagination, skill, control, all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he nearly wins it for Barca with a raking shot from distance that hits
miles
the bar.
out, clips the crossbar. Schmeichel beaten. There's a nice shot after Rivaldo scores of Guardiola in the stands. Didn't have much hair then either.
Rivaldo didn't have much hair either, but he had an awful lot of talent. It's Berbatov-esque, the highest praise that you can give to an overhead kick. It might even be better than Dimitar Berbatov's overhead kick
because it's all in one movement.
Yeah,
it's
really ridiculous
the way he manages to do it. Yeah,
and
he
he's
didn't
excellent
shin it either, which I think is a bonus.
I think apart from York and Cole, who were exceptional in small bursts in this game, I mean, much like Ronaldo's performance in that 2003 game, York and Cole had this kind of incredible impact on this game in moments. Rivaldo was consistent. Rivaldo was the Zidane of this game. Like, he was just consistently excellent throughout the game, I thought. He had a really massive say in it.
Yeah, great player. Yeah. Deeply misunderstood by Louis van Gaal, or maybe deeply understood and just didn't like him for that reason.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a few chances for the last 20 minutes or so of the game, but nothing huge. There's a really good chance for Andy Cole in the 92nd minute. What a win that would have been. Didn't quite come off. But this is as good as a win, really. I mean, I guess it would have been ideal. I mean, it worked out pretty nicely, thank you very much. But I guess a win would have kept us out of the same group as Juventus in the second group stage. Were they in the second group stage? I forget my There's no second group stage in this year. Go straight to the quarterfinal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's got one round less than the modern Champions League. So United play Inter next, then Juve in the semi-final.
Right.
It's kind of interesting because 4 draws in this group, drew all the games against Bayern, obviously play eventually in the final against Barcelona, and in fact only win 5 games, which is apparently the lowest number of games a team has won to win the tournament, but go unbeaten throughout the tournament and played the best of the best.
Absolutely.
Throughout it,
I mean, there's hardly a major team. I guess Real Madrid. Oh yeah, we played Juventus in the second group stage, and then the game we talked about last time. That's where my brain got crosswired. Yeah. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Real were the holders. United didn't play them. They went out in the quarterfinal to Dynamo Kiev.
Yeah. So basically, all the best teams in Europe were on the way, and all the best teams in England in the FA Cup, and a really solid opposition to win the league. It's it is an unparalleled achievement in English football. Like, I mean, it's literally an unparalleled achievement, but there's no knocks against it. You can't find a knock against it that holds up any water as an incredible, staggering achievement. And
it's really interesting. I don't want to sound like some United conspiracy theorist on Twitter, but in the debate for greatest teams ever, which we seem to have every single year now, because you've always got to go up. Version 2.0 has to be beaten by version 3.0, doesn't it? This team doesn't get mentioned, but the achievement of winning these 3 tournaments and only losing 4 games in the whole season, playing absolutely everyone of note in winning the Champions League and in the FA Cup, as you say, it's a magnificent achievement. I think Liverpool this year having really the finest Liverpool side since the 1970s, basically, and finding it too much for them to match this achievement. Obviously, the season hasn't finished, but
City with like unparalleled financial resources, with one of the best coaches that's ever coached, weren't able to even really get close to it. They won. It is impressive to win all 3 domestic trophies. That's a very impressive haul, but you're missing the crown jewel of the treble in that. But this is, and I'm not saying this from a pie-eyed Man United perspective. I hope not. Anyway, this is like genuinely trying to be reflective about it and actually consider it in a kind of somewhat neutral way. It's unbelievable. And this game's a sort of really interesting snapshot of the 99 season, because it isn't that fluent, just like the semi-final wasn't fluent. But these lot, I know it's the most obvious thing to say about them, but they have no idea when they're beaten. Like, you cannot knock the stuffing out of this team. You can't knock the self-belief for any serious length of time. And there's so much talent. There's a moment we didn't talk about, because it's just a minor moment, of Jaap Stam bringing a ball out of defence, making a tackle, continuing to burst forward. You've got weaknesses in the side, I guess, at right back, because the first choice central defensive partnership isn't available. But left back is one of the most consistent, excellent players that's ever played for United. The midfield is, you've got Blomqvist instead of Giggs here, but the rest of the midfield is elite and absolutely belongs in a World 11. And that front 2, who basically do a lot of donkey work for the season in a way, and don't get the moments, the sheer, it's Sheringham and Solskjaer that score the winners. But this season doesn't even get close to happening without York and Cole. They are amazing in this game and amazing throughout.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. The interesting thing is that the squad wasn't anywhere near the depth that you'd expect a 2020 squad to have. On the bench here, obviously Giggs is injured and Ronny Jansson's out, and who else is missing? Giggs and Janssen.
Is Sheringham on the bench?
Yeah, must have been injured, not on the bench either. But Van der Gaal, Berg, Curtis, Neville, Solskjaer and Mark Wilson. It's a decent bench. You got Solskjaer in there, Henning Berg. I don't think he was a good squad player at United. Central defence, right back, bit plodding. Van der Gaal, decent backup keeper. Nicky Butt obviously played, a very full career at United. But there's some weaknesses there as well. Curtis was never as good as perhaps many of us hoped he would after a really good debut. I remember, the buzz around after he made his debut for United. Mark Wilson, I think the best thing he ever did was score an outrageous goal in one of those charity-friendly matches.
Right.
That Eric Cantona came back and played in at Old Trafford. So, highlight of your career, playing in Cantona's World 11 and scoring a worldie. So,
I'd take it. I'd bite your hand off for it. Yeah.
But
you're right.
But, the point being is, Fergie didn't use that many players, and I think he used something like 17 or 18 players across this season, which is bonkers, really.
Yeah, the only players who are potentially first teamers is Jordi Cruyff playing for United at this point? No, I can't remember.
No, I don't think so.
He's at Barcelona, in fact, I think. So you've got Blomqvist, who could be a first teamer, and then Nicky Butt, and then Sheringham and Solskjaer, and everyone else is definitely a squad option. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It isn't squad rotation, and that's why perhaps I shouldn't have been surprised to look at the Sheffield Wednesday lineup and see that it was basically the same side. So in the end, I guess this probably won't be the last game we do from 99, because I suppose we should do Turin. Like, maybe we'll make Turin the last one we do.
In like September or October.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite a few games to go through before then.
We have indeed. So that's it. That was a really interesting game to watch. I didn't love it from start to finish in the way that I did with the 91 game and the last game we did. I enjoyed moments. This game was a game of real moments, but there was a certain lack of fluency to the overall experience.
Yeah.
What's up next is an all-time classic banger, basically. This is just a banger. We haven't done a league game yet, and where better to start than Tottenham Hotspur 3, Manchester United 5 from September 2001.
Yeah. So at some point we'll delve back into the archives from before the Premier League era.
Absolutely. But it's all
Paul's
about...
refusing to do that because he doesn't like football in black and white.
I just didn't want to do the 1957 FA Cup final because it's such an attritional game. Like, I mean, we should do it because it's one of the few opportunities to watch the Busby Babes, 90 minutes of the Busby Babes. But of course, they lose their goalkeeper to crippling injury, and the game is pretty poor as a consequence. So, not a particularly fair reflection of their abilities overall. But anyway, I'm looking forward to this now, one. Yeah, Spurs 3, Man United 5. One of the millions of absolutely incredible goal games between Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United over the years. So
yes, and I'm going to say, I don't know this, but I'm going to assume one of the all-time hairdryer moments at half-time in this game.
Yeah,
because it certainly had an effect. Anyway, more of that on Thursday's show. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we'll see you then. Patreon backers, stay tuned for more York and Cole chat.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.